As you come to a steady foundation, close your eyes and let your shoulders relax, but turn your palms forward, extend down through your fingertips. And let's take a few moments to deepen our breath. The next time you breathe in, float your arms up. And with a slow exhale, fold forward, bend your knees as much as you need to. When you inhale, come to a halfway lift. Maybe your hands come up to your shins. And then exhale and bow back in. On an inhale, rise to stand and come up to a full stretch. And then as you exhale, bring your arms back down. Moving again, inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow in. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Rise slow to stand, right up to a full stretch. And then mountain pose. This one will move a little bit further. As you inhale, reach up again. Bow in slow on the exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. Step your right foot back. Press your right knee, or bring your right knee down to the mat. And as you inhale, low lunge. Exhale, bring your hands down. And we're going to step back to down dog on an inhale. And hold down dog as you slowly breathe out. Inhale, come forward, plank pose. Exhale, bend your elbows, lower all the way down. Then untuck your toes, cobra as you breathe in. And down dog as you breathe out. So you inhale, lift your right leg up. And step your right foot forward, a low lunge. Rest your left knee, inhale to rise. Exhale, lean in, place your fingertips down, and then step forward a halfway lift. And bow in, breathing out. Rise up to stand. Mountain pose as you exhale. Okay, let's take that to the other side. Inhale. Fold in, exhale. Halfway lift, inhale. Step your left foot back, low lunge. Inhale to lift up. Exhale, place your hands to the mat. Breathe into downward facing dog. Pause in down dog for a full exhale. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, bend your elbows. You can take this to cobra or up dog on the inhale. And exhale, downward facing dog. As you breathe in, lift your left leg. Exhale, step your left foot forward. Lower your right knee, low lunge. And exhale, lean in. So reach ahead of your left toes, step forward into a halfway lift. And then bow in as you breathe out. Okay, come up to stand. And let's rest in mountain pose with your hands at heart center. So take a few moments to stabilize. Okay, now that your body is a little bit warmer, just allow yourself to sense the shifts in energy, and we'll start to take this into some longer held postures. Begin to shift your weight into your left foot for tree pose, Vrikshasana. Bend your right knee, open your right knee, and place your right foot lower or higher than your knee. And once your foot's in place, your hands can stay at heart center. You could also raise your arms if you like. Let's take 4 breaths. One more. Okay, now lower your hands to your heart, warrior 2. Step your right foot back, open your arms wide, settle into the lunge of your left knee. Again, 4 breaths. Straighten out your left leg. Bring your right hand to your right hip, preparing for triangle pose. Draw your hips back, reach forward through your left hand, and lower your left hand to a steady place, a block or the ground. Open your right arm wide, and let's move into 4 slow breaths. Look down to the ground, bend your left knee, bring your hands down and come to a runner's lunge. So walk your left foot a little bit wider. We're going to come to side plank facing the left side of the room. So bring your right foot back, take your right hand just ahead of your right shoulder. You can bring your right knee to the ground and spin open to the left or roll to the outer edge of your right foot. Roll your right shoulder back so you're nice and steady through your bottom arm. Your gaze can be sideways or up towards your top hand. And for this one, let's take 2 more breaths. Okay, now look down to the mat. Bring your left hand down, downward facing dog. Bring your hips up, spread your fingers nice and wide. And then let's move to a vinyasa. So as you inhale, come forward into plank. And as you exhale, bend your elbows, slowly lower, untuck your toes, cobra or upward facing dog. And then downward facing dog. Okay, now as you breathe in, lift your left leg up, 3-legged dog, and step your left foot forward. We're going to come up to a high lunge, so take a few moments to settle and steady your foundation, lift your upper body. Your arms can be raised or your hands can be at heart center. And let's take 4 breaths again. If your arms are raised, bring your hands to your heart. Lean forward, straighten out your right leg. We're moving to warrior 3, so if your right leg is quite weight-bearing, bring your foot a little closer, and then step up as you're ready. So you move to warrior 3, this can be any arm variation that you like. So your hands can stay close, your hands can come down to blocks, or reach your arms wide. Yeah, you can be creative with it. Let's take 3 more breaths. Okay, reach for the ground, step your right foot back, bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Your right hand stays down, revolve lunge, open your left arm up. Now for a little hip release, turn your left toe slightly wider than your left heel, and then move your left knee towards the left, and then draw your left hip back. And so you're moving into the tension of your outer hip, and then turn your left palm forward and stretch your fingertips forward. So the left side of your waist gets a little extra room as well. And you can look sideways or up and underneath your left arm. Okay. Now look down to the ground and lower your left hand, 3-legged dog. Lift your left leg up and back. Float your left hip higher than your right one and bend your left knee. And then press down really firmly through your left hand. So you keep your shoulders at an even height and lengthen out your neck, but try to bring your left hip above your right one. And so you're spiraling into a twist in the opposite direction than you just had in the lunge. And, the next time you breathe in, lift your right heel up a little higher. As you exhale, step your left foot halfway up your mat. And as your foot meets the ground, let the whole sole of your foot come down and walk your fingertips back towards your left foot. So your chest can lift a little higher. And then raise your right leg in a stance like you had it in warrior 3, where your hands can be on blocks or the ground. Now lift from your belly towards your spine. Lengthen the center of your chest forward. I'm thinking of kind of a seesaw, a teeter-totter. We're going to try to come up to stand. You can put a little bend in your left knee if you like, that can be helpful, and begin to lift your chest. And as you come upright, bring your right knee ahead of your left knee. Okay, raise your arms out ahead of you, eagle pose, Garudasana. Bend your left knee, cross your right leg over your left, And then your left arm does the opposite. So take your left arm over your right, and your hands can come to your shoulders, or wind up your arms. And if you have space to sit down a little lower into the seat of eagle, go ahead. And then try to draw your elbows away from your knees. Unwind your arms, take your hands to your hips, come to stand up, stretch your right foot forward, take a step onto your right foot, maybe just move the blocks out of the way. Tree pose on your right foot. So lift your left knee, turn your left knee open, and find placement for your left foot, above or below your right knee. Your hands can be at heart center or raised. 4 breaths. Arms are raised, bring them down, bend your right knee a bit so you can step back, warrior 2. Open your stride, open your reach, settle into the lunge of your right knee. 4 breaths, warrior 2. Straighten out your right leg, bring your left hand to your left hip, setting up for triangle pose. So draw your left hip back, reach your right arm forward. Maybe your hand comes down to your leg or a block or the ground. And then open your chest wide, reach up through your top hand, gazing sideways or up, triangle for 4 breaths. Try to keep your breath slow, especially the exhalations. And then look down to the ground and bring your hands down. So you're moving into a runner's lunge. Now we're going to take side plank, this time facing towards the right. So first step your right foot back and bring your left hand just ahead of your left shoulder. Your left knee can stay up or down. And then turn open towards the right. And roll your left shoulder back so you're really firm through your upper back. Reach up high through your right arm. And let's take 2 more breaths. And then look down to the ground and lower your right hand, press back, downward facing dog. Take a moment to even out your hands and your legs. And you can always stay as you are, or if you'd like to take a vinyasa, come forward into plank. Exhale, bend your elbows, lower down, and then rise up to your back bend. And press back to downward facing dog. Okay, from down dog, raise your right leg up. And step your right foot forward. So this will be for a high lunge. Take a few moments to find your steadiness on your feet, lift your upper body, and now your hands can be at heart center again if your shoulders ever need a break, or raise your arms up. Let's take 4 breaths. Bring your hands down to heart center, lean forward, just notice how much weight is in your back foot, maybe you shorten your stride. Prepare for warrior 3, so step forward onto your right foot, slowly bow in. Your arms can take on any position again if you're choosing, and that includes the ground or to blocks. Let's take 3 more breaths. Now bend your right knee, reach for the ground, a runner's lunge. So step your left foot back, bring your hands right under your shoulders. Place your feet hip width distance apart. Keep your left hand on the ground, revolve lunge, open your right arm, reach up. And then to bring it again into some release of your outer hip, turn your right toes a few degrees out to the right so there's a little angle, and open your right knee too, and then try to move your right hip back. Turn your right palm forward, extend your right fingertips forward, and then your gaze can be sideways or a peek up and underneath your right arm. Okay, as you breathe out, look down, lower your right hand. Three-legged dog, lift your right leg up and back. Lift your right hip higher than your left, and then bend your right knee. And push down firmly through your right hand. Keep your neck muscles relaxed and try to keep your shoulders at a balanced height to one another. Great, and then extend your right leg, turn your hips towards the mat, and step your right foot halfway up your mat. Let the sole of your foot completely ground and walk your fingertips back towards your right foot so your chest can lift. Step onto your right leg and lift your left leg up. So you're in Warrior 3, but your fingertips are on blocks or the ground. And take a moment to find your steadiness. Turn your left toes down, hug your inner thighs in, lift your belly up. And then like a teeter-totter, we're going to come up to stand. So nice and slow, lift your upper body. Like a pendulum, your left leg moves forward, and as it comes ahead of your right one, bend your left knee. Eagle pose, so bend your right knee and cross your left leg over. And then cross your right arm over your left one. Hands to your shoulders or your forearms wrapped around each other. And if there's space to sit down deeper into the chair of eagle, then you can do that. And if there's room in your upper back to move your elbows away from your knees, and you can also give your upper back a stretch. Unwind your arms. Bring your hands to your hips. Come to stand. Stretch your left foot out ahead of you. Take a step forward onto your left foot. Just take a moment to pause. Okay. Now draw your right knee forward, thinking of tree pose. And you indeed can come to tree, opening your knee and placing your foot. Or this time, if you'd like to grab a hold of your big toe, then we'll take a toe extension. So lift up through the center of your chest and then reach your foot out towards the side. And your left hand can stay at your hip or your left arm can reach out to the left. Okay, now bend your right knee and your standing knee too. Step back, Warrior 2, and just take a moment to lengthen your stride. Let both of your feet land. Open your arms out, extended side angle. So lean sideways. Bring your left elbow to your thigh. Maybe your hand comes to a block. Your right arm can reach the ceiling or reach your fingertips forward. And let's take 4 breaths. Great, now lower your right hand to your right hip, look towards the ground, and heel toe your right foot a little closer to your left. We're heading to half moon pose. Reach your left hand ahead of your left foot, take a step onto your left leg, raise your right leg up, raise your right arm, and your gaze can be towards the ground or sideways or up towards the ceiling. Make sure you're breathing. Let's take 2 more. Great. Now look down to the mat, bend your left knee, bring both hands down and take a long stride down your mat. So you're in a runner's lunge. Now we'll take side plank again facing the left. This time you can take a toe hold if you like. Press down through your right palm, roll to the outer edge of your right foot. Either step your left leg back or lift your left foot up. And this could also be tree with your left foot on your inner right thigh. 2 more breaths. Your hands on your foot, bend your knee. Let's meet in down dog. So step back, lift your hips up. Here you can pause or a vinyasa if you like, rolling through with a couple breaths. Starting again from down dog, as you find an inhale, lift your left leg up. Step your left foot forward, bring your foot up towards your hand. High lunge, lift your upper body, and bring your hands down to heart center. Okay, let's lean forward gradually. The transition towards Warrior 3 can be with a little step forward with your back foot. As you step onto your left leg, tip forward and slide your left hand to your left hip. Reach your right hand down towards the ground, or you can take a block underneath your hand. Press down through your right hand. And so just to check in, you've got the opposite foot to hand. This will be revolved half moon. Let's take a twist. Turn your torso towards the left. Roll your left shoulder back. Your hand can stay at your hip or stretch your fingertips up. And your gaze can be anywhere your neck is comfortable, moving into the rotation to whatever degree. 2 more breaths. And then look down to the ground. Bring your left hand down. Step back into a long lunge stride. Walk your hands underneath your shoulders, 3-legged dog. Lift your left leg up. Float your left hip and bend your left knee. You can pause here, or if you'd like to open up into the back bend of Wild Thing pose and roll to your outer right foot. Slowly bring your left toes down, pushing into the earth to lift through your chest. If you're in Wild Thing pose, lower your hips first. Gradually turn over, 3-legged dog, plant down through your left hand. Raise your left leg, this time turning your toes towards the mat. And let's breathe in here. As you exhale, step your left foot forward. Bring your foot halfway up your mat. Like we did before, walk your fingertips towards your left foot. Raise your right leg. Standing splits. So if you have room to fold further at your left hip crease, you can. And if you're in a space that you don't have anything you might kind of crash into at home, you can also take a few hops towards handstand, walking your hands forward, spread your fingers, a little bend in your left knee, and a few little pushes of your right foot up towards the ceiling. Now, draw your chest forward, lower your right leg about to hip height, lift from your belly button towards your spine. Put a bend in your left knee. Let's come to stand. Gradually move up. And as you do, extend your right foot out ahead of you. Take a moment to pause. Great. Step onto your right foot. Lift your left knee. Tree pose or extending your leg. So if you wish, take your hand around your big toe. And extend your foot out to the side. Bend your left knee, warrior 2. Step your left foot back, open your arms nice and wide. Take a moment to settle in. Extended side angle, lean sideways. Place your elbow or place your palm. Reach up or reach forward. Let's stay for 4 breaths. Bring your left hand down to your left hip. Look down. Heel toe your left foot a little closer to your right. So this will be for half moon pose. Reach your right hand ahead, step in. Raise your left leg. Raise your left arm, turning sideways, your gaze wherever it needs to be for balance. 3 breaths. And look down, bring your left hand down, bend your right knee. Let's head back to a runner's lunge, so step back. Now side plank will happen facing towards the right side of your mat this time, so you'll be on your left hand. This could be with a toe lock, it could be just any variation that you enjoy. Take a few moments to open your body towards the right, perhaps lifting your right foot up. And this could be tree pose too, so the sole of your right foot can come to your left inner thigh and push your leg up into your right foot. Down dog's the destination, so look down, step your feet back evenly, bring your hands down evenly. So again, the offering is for vinyasa, the offering is to stay still. Take your time. Let's take a clearing breath, so slowly breathe in. Open your mouth. Okay. With an inhale, raise your right leg up. Step your right foot forward, bring it up towards your right hand. A high lunge, let's gradually move up, raise your arms. And then bring your hands down to heart center. So let's flow through to warrior three. Lean forward, maybe shorten your stride. Step onto your right leg as you're ready, and then bow in. So as you fold in at your right hip crease, bring your right hand to your right hip. Reach your left hand down to a block or to the ground. And then keep your left leg steady. Let's take a twist, turn towards the right, revolved half moon pose. Your right hand can stay at your hip or reach your fingertips up towards the ceiling. Make sure you are breathing. There's not as much space for breath. Let's take one more slow one. And then look down, lower your right hand, step your left foot back, bring your hands underneath your shoulders, three-legged dog. So lift your right leg up and back, float your right hip above your left, bend your left knee. Okay, so you can stay here or roll to your outer left foot for wild thing pose. Slowly place your right toes down and then push down into the ground to lift your front body and open up. Wild thing pose. Lower your hips first, release the pose. We're coming back to three-legged dog. So extend your right leg up and back with your toes turned down. Hug your inner thighs towards each other. Let's breathe in. And then step your right foot forward halfway up your mat. Let your foot land. Bring your fingertips just ahead of your right foot. Lift your chest, lift your left leg. So some of the bend comes out of your right knee, standing splits. If there's space to fold in further, go ahead. And if you'd like to take a few presses up towards handstand, walk your hands again ahead of your right foot, spread your fingers, lift your right heel. A steady gaze between your index fingers and a few little hops away from the ground. Whether you're pressing up in hops or whether your right foot stayed on the ground, get steady on your right foot, walk your hands under your shoulders and raise your chest. Mountain pose. Yeah, this one really, mountain pose. Okay. Step your feet a little wider. Turn your toes out wider than your heels. Bring your hands onto your hips. Breathe in to lift up through your chest, roll your shoulders back, and then begin to bend your knees and fold at your hips. So we're going down towards Malasana. Okay, so if you come to a place your elbows can come to your inner knees, and you can transfer your hands there, hands to your heart. And if it works for you to bring your hips lower, then you can also bring your hips down. Lift the center of your chest up towards your thumbs. Take a peaceful gaze forward. And let's take 3 slow breaths. Down with a hand in front, a hand behind. Come onto your seat. Keep your legs out ahead of you. I want to take a seated forward fold. So keep your left heel extended forward as it is, but bend your right knee. Shift your right hip back so you've got a little angle to your pelvis towards the right, and then fold your right leg in. Press down through your left heel and turn your chest towards the left. A block can go underneath your right outer thigh if your leg is floating, and then inhale to lift up. And as you exhale, fold in. Okay, let's take 4 slow breaths. And then push down through your right heel and lift your upper body. Okay, let's trade legs. So extend your right heel forward. Bend your left knee, move your left hip back a little bit so your hips are open towards the left, and fold in. And a block can go underneath your left knee, left outer thigh, if there's a gap there. And then push down through your right heel, turn towards your right leg, inhaling. And as you exhale, bow in towards your right leg. So next exhalation draws to a close. Push down through your right heel and lift your upper body. You take your legs evenly out ahead of you and bring yourself to the middle of your mat. Bring your arms forward, lean back, and let's take a few breaths to roll down onto our back. Okay, so meet your back, walk your heels in towards your sitting bones, bridge pose or wheel pose. So press down through the soles of your feet, the backs of your arms, lift your hips up, and you can roll your arms further underneath you if you're maintaining bridge pose. If you're coming to wheel, take your hands over your shoulders, push down through your hands and feet, and then lift up, drawing the center of your chest towards the back of your mat. Let's make our way back down. So if you're in wheel, look up to the ceiling first. With either pose, slowly roll down through your spine, let your hips connect, and then bring your knees gradually in towards your chest. Give your legs a hug, and maybe you even lift your nose up towards your knees. And then release your head down and take your arms open. Let's take a reclined twist. So any variation you enjoy with your legs, just shift your hips a little off to the left first and bring your knees over and down towards the right. When you meet your variation of twist, let's take 3 deep breaths. Carefully unwind your legs and bring your feet down. So you can move your hips, this time cross them over towards the right side of the mat and bring your knees down towards the left side of the mat. Let your body relax into this form. And let's take 3 slow breaths. Time again to unwind. Our next pose is Savasana. So bring yourself back towards the middle of your mat and maybe bring your knees into your chest again, just balancing out your spine. And when you're ready to stretch out and relax, then open your body. Draw your shoulder blades underneath you so you create a little bit more open room to breathe in across your chest. Let your jaw relax and your tongue, your eyebrows. mat, your hands off the back of your mat. Take a deep breath in. A full breath out. Okay, and then bend your knees and bring your feet down firmly. Roll over to your side. Take your time. We'll meet in a comfortable seated pose. As you find your seat, get steady and lengthen your spine and bring your palms together to heart center. So take a moment to acknowledge your effort in creating this space and time for your practice. Thank you for sharing. Namaste. Oh, I don't know if that's gonna get me back in the pose. Let's see. Partner yoga unexpectedly. This one might become a blooper. Let me just come back here. Because you're holding a long time as I work my way through this.